Ahoy! Let's take a look at the new Well of Fortune and the PvP reports, how to get coins, how the whole zone works, and what you can get in return. Before we dive into it, I'm gonna post a lot of trading tips for New World Aeternum specifically on my Patreon over the next days. One should be coming today and then more in the next. Some of them will be very rewarding if you're early. So if you're interested in that, consider supporting me there. Thanks to my patrons who already do that. Let's talk about how the zone actually works. Your goal in the zone is to find chests, primarily, which will contain doubloons. You have on one hand the cursed doubloons and on the other hand the safe mystic doubloons. Typically, most places that you can loot there will contain cursed doubloons, with the exception of, as far as I know, the treasure chests, which should contain mystic doubloons. Cursed doubloons you can lose when you die, mystic doubloons will stay with you. However, it appears that the first 100 cursed doubloons per run are safe anyways. As long as you're getting out with less than 100 cursed doubloons, you keep them even if you die. The Goldcursed Coconut, which you can only get once per week, can also not be taken from you if you die. That stays with you as well. But people can try to loot the chest that these are coming from, which means even if they already had their coconut for the week, they may contest the same chest as you if they're trying to get the coins from that, the doubloons. Additionally, there is the treasure map mechanic, which I haven't been able to fully test yet. As far as I understand it, there are multiple treasure maps that you can find across the zone, which are basically just like regular nodes that you would find scattered across other zones. And these maps show you locations within the freefall PvP zone that contain treasure. If you get close to one of the treasures and you have the map for it, it will actually show for you. So it's not that difficult to find at that point, and you can dig it out and loot it. And as far as I know, it provides mystic doubloons, which can't be stolen. It seems to have a cooldown, so it's possible that you can loot these multiple times. It's maybe a relatively safe way to farm additional doubloons. Not 100% sure on that yet, that's just my impression so far. The chest also works somewhat differently from what you're used to with chests, because these can be looted by multiple people and the progression does not reset. So you may start looting a chest and then someone attacks you right before it's done being looted, and they can then very quickly loot the chests and get all the rewards. So this is something worth keeping in mind if you're actually trying to aggressively farm these. You can pretty much get killed at any point or knocked off them, and then someone else can just do the last little tap on it. But there are also cursed resources within the zone. There are a lot of high-level resources, really, which generally tend to give you some extra amount, and those can also be lost. If you enjoyed the video so far, consider subscribing and clicking the bell. So, assuming you made it out, what can you actually get in return? So this is the Well of Fortune. As you can see, it's located here in Cutlass Keys in the settlement, right down at the bottom of it. And if we open that up, we get all of the options, things that we can buy with our currency. So first of all, we have the two new artifacts, Ghostly Touch, which gives you an Empower Dispel for 2 of the enemy empowers and gives yourselves a 10% empower. And we have Solar's Code, which is kind of a roided up stamina recovery that gives you like a potion search and whatnot and everything. What you can see here is that these are 6,000 mystic doubloons. So if you were to only use the key that we'll get to in a second, you'd get like 500 per week from that, meaning you'd have to do that for 12 weeks to get one of the artifacts. So the glittering gold key is one of the most important mechanics when it comes to easy farm, especially for people that don't actually enjoy doing any of the PvP zone stuff, because you can buy this for just 5 mystic doubloons, and then it has a weekly cooldown. And after that, you have to go to a storage chest that is located near the freefall PvP zone, but not in the zone. And that will allow you to unlock a chest that gives you 500 mystic doubloons. And these are not even cursed doubloons, these are just mystic doubloons. So even if you were to get killed right in that moment, you would not lose them. So they're yours guaranteed as long as you open one of these chests with this key. Very easy, something that you should get as soon as possible in terms of getting the cooldown going. Even if you maybe are not on a level 65 character, it's very much worth it to just try and get one of these early on. Just get some doubloons, just so you can get like a continuous cycle of using a key once a week without actually entering the zone. Very, very strong. By far the most effective method for people who are not in a super big rush, because you just get a fair few. Next we have the Goldcursed chests, where I'm not entirely sure if they will have any value, because they have the chance to give you a 625 piece of any kind, or depending what chest. So for example, this would be a chest armor, and then you have boots and so on, but some of these are more random. So this is, for example, one-handed melee weapons. They'd also drop, but then they also can drop random perks entirely. What I feel like most people don't want to do is use the Goldcursed Coconut for this, because you also need to upgrade a lot of the items and everything. You're going to use it to upgrade artifacts, so it's going to be quite a while until you actually go for these chests instead, I think, personally. And then we have the next category here, which are the named weapons. These are all at 710, they're all with penetrating the empowered, and they cost 750 mystic doubloons throughout. Guaranteed 710 here, named can be upgraded to 725 with a coconut and some extra resources, but that's done at the gypsum kiln, I think. And generally something you might want to get if you want to get high gear score as quickly and easy as possible, because this might be one of the best pathways to get there. We have armor chests and weapon chests here. These give you gear up to 710 gear score. This is not guaranteed 710, so it's relatively cheap in comparison with 250 mystic doubloons, but you could get like a 7-6 piece out of that, and so apparently some people have even gotten things below 700. Not necessarily that great because of it. It was guaranteed 610, it would be a lot better. And these are all 250, but then in the weapon category they are 375, but for some reason the two-handed melee weapons may be mislabeled here. They're also at 250. Everything else is more expensive. Trinkets here also come in at 250. Then we have the resource crates, which are probably the biggest joke. I will just show you some more of that on New World Database in a bit, because it's hilarious. It's bad, and you probably don't want to buy those, but the Goldcursed Epic Crate is worth having another look. So you can see it here on New World Database. We have this seemingly not that great crate. You can get 3 of them per day, and it contains some resources, but then it also has this Goldcursed gear, which doesn't look that impressive. But it has a chance to roll this gear as epic of, I think, 30% it is, which makes this 705 gear score, which is already pretty decent for being relatively cheap to buy, and you can get multiple per day. It's just a nice chance. But then it can also roll 725 gear, legendary gear, which is of course completely random perks, but is 725 gear for a very, very low price. Goldcursed Epic Crate is just 35 mystic doubloons, so for 105 doubloons you can cover a day. Basically what you can do is get the 500 stash and then just use that over the week for these, and gradually get a decent amount of high gear score weaponry and armory. The dark matter exchange here is 5 dark matter for 10 mystic doubloons, which is maybe not that great for someone who has a lot of dark matter already, but maybe more interesting for PvPers that are new, that are like playing on fresh start and they want to have dark matter, because you might be a bit stuffed for that in the beginning. So possibly interesting for some, for most people probably not. But these are interesting. You can get 5 gemstone dust, untradeable gemstone dust here, per week. This is on the weekly cooldown for the 10 mystic doubloons, which is pretty cheap. The cooldown here for the dark matter is short in comparison. Then with the gypsum orbs, you also have a mystic doubloon and trades for that, for 5 gypsum orbs for 10 mystic doubloons, also very easy. So like honing stones, Oakflesh bomb, proficiency booster, all the same thing. I think if you get a decent amount of mystic doubloon farm, you're gonna do all these weekly cooldowns, because why not? It's just too cheap not to, really, when they are significantly more expensive in terms of time invested when it comes to gold on the trading post. So these might be worth keeping an eye out for. We have the 3 new perk mods. I've already talked about these in a separate video, so if you're interested in that, check that out instead. We have stat boost meals. These are banana foods, so not the best ones you can get, but considering they are 3 mystic doubloons, Not too bad. Also come with a weekly cooldown though. But I think you can craft 5 or 10. And yeah, it must be 5. And same with the trade skill boosting meal, if you care for that. Could be nice on fresh start when people aren't like leveled up on their trade skills that much yet as well. So maybe not that many people will have cooking yet or the recipes yet, and you want to boost a trade skill early, then you can still do it with this. You can get hearty meals for 1 mystic doubloon. That's kind of cute. And then you can get algae, which are basically just vegetables, like they're just used for cooking. There's 5 tiers of them, but they really don't seem to matter for anything else yet. According to our database, they're literally just used in the cooking recipes, so that's a bit tragic. You can get this funny little hat, which as far as I can tell cannot be used for transmog, and you can get the kitchen rag. We can maybe one of them is for a quest. We can craft them here and see what happens. It actually seems to cap you out at 1 as well, yeah. So maybe they will be useful for something, or maybe they're just random gimmicks that they added. We will find out one day. They definitely show up in resources, okay. But yeah, can't equip it or anything, just can salvage it. We can see if we salvage these, if anything comes out of that. Oh, it doesn't even let us salvage them. It says it let us salvage them, but can't actually salvage. So, yeah, no idea what the point of those is. I just double checked for the dark matter exchange. That is a 10 every 24 hours, so 50 every 24 hours in total with the 10 conversions. And the gypsum orb exchange for 5 of them is once every 24 hours. That also seems to be the case for the craft mods here. They have the same cooldown. Just open the stat boost meal here. Literally just 1 banana bread. But again, if you can't cook those meals yet, might be useful. Again, at this point, if you want early trading tips for the expansion, also tips for the new servers, then consider supporting me on Patreon. Thanks to all of my patrons who already do that. And if you'd like to support the channel in another way, you can subscribe and click the bell. Other than that, thank you for watching. SLOTH out.